Hi, Transition. So we got some bad weather coming in, but today we got some sunny days. This is part of what I really wanted us to do at school starting in the springtime. We got that greenhouse, we got the garden over at Blackhawk Middle School, and we have the library program at Bensenville Library that really helps us out. So I decided that I want to continue the gardening from home. So one thing that we're going to need to do is build a small garden bed again, just like we had over at the Bensenville Library. So there's going to be a couple videos in this series to get this started up, but I wanted to pick an area of my yard, just like you may want to do to pick an area of your yard, that would require little to no maintenance when you're going through to cut your own grass. Okay, a couple of you we video chatted with over the last week, and we noticed that, hey, some of you have plants in your home. This may be a good thing to do with your family while you are at home, but you're still trying to learn. So I know we've been talking about this for almost a year and a half now. We've been prepping for this spring for gardening, and with what's going on with in the world right now, I think it's really important that we take it seriously and we stay at home and we stay safe. But at the same time, we want to take a look at where our food comes from. So our first video will be on building your own garden bed. It doesn't have to be huge. As you see, I'm not going to be dealing with a huge space here. I have a couple boards that I purchased from Home Depot. The entirety of the boards cost me about 30 bucks. So I'll be able to build a garden bed in this area here for about $30. From there, we'll fill it up with dirt and we'll start the seed process. And hopefully we'll have a lot of videos to come about how this all takes place. So I'll stop this video right here, and I'm going to cut several of these boards to fit the area, and I'm also going to clear out the rocks. So the next time you see me, it may be cutting the boards or it may be clearing out the rocks. I'll probably leave the rock clearing for off video because that seems like, maybe a little bit more on the boring side. So I will be back, and hope to talk to you all. Okay, so I cleared out a lot of the rocks. It doesn't need to be perfect. I'm going to lay down some more weed carpet in that area before the dirt goes in, but I wanted to show you just some of the tools that we're going to use to cut this wood and start making our garden box. Of course, we're going to need the circular saw. You're going to want to get some help with something like this. I think what I figured out was I was going to cut 4 3-foot boards and then 2 2-foot boards, and then I was going to just use the main pieces of wood as the 2 long parts of my small bed. So I'm going to have a deeper bed and a small bed. This is going to be a relatively small garden box, but it'll be enough for our purposes. Always want to have safety glasses. All right, definitely going to need one of these. This is just a little square. I've got a longer T-square that I can use to measure with, but this is really important for making the pencil marks and the straight cuts. And then if you're just doing this, if you're working with one of your parents, you may not need one of these, but it's always a good idea to clamp your wood down when you're cutting it. Okay. All right, so we've got my first 3-foot marker ready to go. Don't want to forget your safety glasses. Those go on. So what we got here though is we want to make sure that we're cutting deep enough with the circular saw, and it does look like we're going to be able to go through. So with no further ado, we will make our first cut, lining this up with the safety right here. And there's no reason to touch it because this will push forward, but we want to hit at the 0-degree marker and cut. All right. Okay, so if you're at a flat surface like a driveway, you can use that to square up your wood when you're making your garden boxes in separate sections. This is just a 4 3-foot boards that I'm going to put together, and using the driveway as my square, I'm just going to drill a couple quick holes. Okay, and then that first one's going to be it for now, because you want to make sure that you get something situated so the board doesn't move. Okay, so that's your pilot hole. And there we go. And I will continue that for the rest of the boards to make sure the garden box stays together. Okay, so this is the end result of the 3x3 bed and the rest of the pieces, the 2 2-foot panels and then the 2 8-foot panels. So what we're looking at here is this stuff. When you look at this, this is the weed carpet that I put underneath the bed to kind of contain the box before you put the topsoil in. So it's pretty much ready for soil to go on in. I'm going to fill it up a little at a time to make sure I have enough, and kind of go okay, so that's going to end the day. It's been a long day to do this, so I'm just going to tell you that if you do start doing something like this at home, I did talk to Mr. Dave at the library today during this process to make sure I was kind of doing some things right. And one thing that he said is, you know, it's too early to plant some things like tomatoes and cucumbers is one of the main things my family wants right now. That shouldn't go direct into the ground. You start that inside. Okay, so I'll do something else on how to start something inside, but I do want to say that if you do something like this at home, it doesn't need to be, you know, 10, 11 feet long. You can start off with just one of these little guys over here, you know, a 3x3 or a 2x2, and just making your favorite things, cucumbers, beans. We've done beans at school before. Beans work out really, really well, you know, because they produce a lot right off the vine. Where's Mr. D when we need him? Okay, Mr. D, I'll forward this over to you as well when the video is all done, so you can correct me on some things and kind of go from there. But we will hopefully get through this and be able to plant our own vegetables for the summer months. Please, if you need help with anything like this, let me know. I'm happy to answer any of your questions. Miss Shane also has a little more knowledge than me with gardening, and of course the library. We'll be able to connect with them soon, Sue and Dave, to maybe help us out too over the summer with some gardening tips. All right, see you in the next video. We'll either be inside seed starting, or it will be direct sowing to here once it gets a little bit warmer. Okay.